All right, we're going to talk about Unknown 9 and get into the numbers. It's been a while since I've done a video like this. And before we start, the gameplay footage today is Mad Max. It's a kind of an older game. If you've never played it, I highly recommend it. It's on Steam. It's on a bunch of platforms. It's on consoles, old consoles at least. So if you can find it, check it out and play it. It's a lot of fun. And so let's just jump right into this and start talking about Unknown 9, The Awakening, and or Unknown 9 Awakening, I guess it's called. I always thought it was The Awakening, but it's Unknown 9 Awakening. And you can see right here the reviews are mixed. There are not a lot of them, even though the release date was October 17th, so it has been a little while, and people have been in the game playing it, although we'll get to that in a moment too. So let's just jump over to the reviews and take a look at this. Thank you, AMD, for bringing PS2 graphics into the PC community in 2024. For inexplicable reasons, this game still runs at 30 frames per second at native 4K resolution, despite using yours truly 7800 3D, X3D, and RX 7900 XTX. Now, if you excuse me, I need to return to Imperium, as I have yet to kill enough of those abhorrent Xenos for the Emperor. So, product received for free. And a lot of people apparently did get this game for free in various combo deals around. So yeah, that's an issue. But you can see like mostly negative, and that was a positive review, which wasn't very positive. But again, I got this game for free. Let's see if we can find one that isn't for free. We can't. At least not in the first few here. Okay, here we go. Not recommended. Oh, got this game for free. Wow. All right. Here we go. This is one of the worst games I've played in a long time. Let me explain. Unknown 9 Awakening is a game that should have been released in 2010. Even if the game was released in 2010, it would feel extremely dated. The graphics are PS3, Xbox 360 era, and even then, there are games with better graphics at the time than this game. The game has stuttering issues all throughout, especially when flames are present or explosions. I've played on nearly maxed out rig 4090 and all, and still had issues. How is this even possible? And he continues on. So a lot of not recommendeds, and like I said, those positive reviews are few and far between. But there were a couple at the top here. Look all right most of the time and spend the rest of the time either breathtaking or terrible. So even the good reviews are kind of mixed if you dig into them a little bit. But yeah, so let's just do our usual thing. Yeah, it doesn't even have the option of over 10 hours. Let's just do over 1 hour and purchase type Steam purchases, and we'll see what happens. So now it's mostly positive, 76% of the 17 user reviews. So you can see there's some statistical anomalies here. And again, let's try and get this to 10 and see what happens. Oh yeah, it's only one review. That's why. Ouch. Only one person has played this more than 10 hours that reviewed it. So I think that is terrible first impression. And I guess the longer you play it, the more you get used to the graphics and you start having a better time. So to be fair, if you can power through the first few hours of this game, I guess it does tend to get better. So I'll give it that much at least. I'll give it that much. Based on the numbers, that's what it gets. But yeah, I mean, even like the trailers, I mean, just looking at the gameplay here, it's just not, it's not something that grips me. I'm not gripped. It's not interesting to me. It doesn't seem like the gameplay is all that interesting. It seems like you just jump around to different bodies and like that's your mechanic. That's the gotcha in this game. Not particularly novel. And so yeah, I mean, it's just not. And like they keep saying, the graphics are not exactly all that great. Even in the trailer, you can see they're not grabbing me. It's not interesting. But that's probably why it had such poor reception, is because the marketing for this game is terrible, and obviously the production quality has issues. The mechanics are not very interesting. They're not terribly inspired. So yeah, this is the part where you jump around to different bodies. So that's basically the gotcha here, is that you can jump between bodies and you can, slow down time and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, but show us something interesting. Show us something new. I mean, we've kind of seen these kind of things before. But yeah, let's let's give this up and actually go to the numbers, because the numbers are very revealing. So straight off the bat on release day, we saw a peak of a whopping, it doesn't even want to tell it, like under 200 players. And then the peak was 285. And then it's been going down 232 here, 215, and the lows are getting lower. This low is a little higher, 54 as opposed to 44, but you can see it's kind of averaging out around that 100 mark and continuing to lose steam as it goes. So this is going to be a sub 100 player count by the end of the week, it looks like. So that is a bad sign. And then, even before that, I mean, it was obvious that this was going to be a problem because your follower count is 1,000, 3,000, and it peaked at release at like, I think on release it was like 6,300. And now it's, the follower count is 6,700, just under 6,700. And again, mostly negative reviews. It's a fail. And, 12.5 estimated owners, or the low of 2.2. So probably 8.4 is accurate. Probably VG Insights is accurate on this one. The 85, give it the extra 100, 8,500 people own this game. And yeah, that's rough, because a little backstory to this, from what I understand, Bandai Namco bought Reflector Entertainment to produce this game as a supposed AA title, to, get out there and get something that's productive and popular and stuff. And it went all, downhill, and they've it's a total fail in terms of that respect. And Bandai Namco is losing its shirt on this deal. So bad news for Bandai Namco, bad news for Reflector Entertainment. If Bandai Namco does the same thing that everybody else does, then Reflector Entertainment might get its doors shut, because that seems to be the thing that happens this year. But I don't know. I'll reserve my judgment for the studio and the publisher, and maybe this is just a one-off thing. It's just a huge mistake, and maybe they can redeem themselves with their next title. But that's assuming Bandai Namco is going to give them a chance to. So we'll see where that goes. And again, there is some rumbling about, oh, well, it went woke, and they had consultants involved that made it worse, and look at the chin and those typical talking points, and those are all to varying degrees true. But like I prefer to stay with the context of the game itself and see how the game stands on its own. Even though I do talk about those things, I'd like to get away from that a little more and actually talk about the underlying problems that we're seeing here, the actual structural problems of how the gaming industry is going, and what the people involved are making mistakes in. Because it's not that the game is woke. It's not that the main character has a tragically large chin for a woman, or any of those things. It's not any of those things. It's the fact that these kind of people that think that those things are important also do not possess the skills to make a game that's fun and interesting. Because you can have a woke game. You can have a tragically large chin on a character and still have an enjoyable, fun game. Now, it's easier with attractive characters. It's easier when you don't put politics in your games. It's certainly easier to get those things done that way. However, it can be done, and it has been done in the past, because they've been building up with this. This has been boiling the frog for a long time, and now a few of us froggies are seeing the water boiling and getting a little concerned, and a lot of them are not. But that's the situation, is that this has been building for years. This has been a slow progression. So they've been sneaking these political themes in our games for many years. They're there to varying degrees, and lesser the further you go back. But now it's more obvious. Now it's more obvious to people, and they're picking up on that. And this became a bit of a rant. I'm sorry about that, but it's important for you guys to understand where I'm coming from on this, because the way I see this is, it's not necessarily the politics that's ruining your games. It's the people that have those political agendas that are ruining your games. They're just bad at making games. They suck at this. And the people that used to make games for the fact of making games, making something fun and interesting, well, some of them were left-leaning, some of them were right-leaning, some of them were very religious, and some of them were not. But they all came around one underlying cause of making fun games that people enjoyed to play. Pushing that envelope, making things more extreme, more interesting, more expansive, more in-depth. pushing all of those buttons to get us to have fun games to play. And the whole point was to make money making cool games. And that's been lost because the politics has superseded those agendas with its own agenda, and that's what you see. So rant over, and apologies for that, but it is what it is, and it's yet another example of these games. I guess you could say going broke, or going untalented and losing their shirt is more accurate, but that's not as catchy. So anyway, yeah, that's what I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let's go back to some Mad Max here and see him jumping out of that balloon. So yeah, again, Mad Max, old school game, a lot of fun. Still has some cultural commentary, political type stuff in it, but not enough to be bothered by, and it's still a lot of fun. So check that out as well. Hope you enjoyed the vid. I'll talk to you guys later.